Picture this. It's a chilly night. Wind howls outside. Rain beats against the windows. Inside, a fire crackles in the fireplace, casting flickering shadows on the walls. The White family is gathered around the fire playing chess and telling stories. It's cozy, but there's a feeling of uneasiness in the air. It's almost as if something bad is about to happen. This spooky atmosphere sets the stage for W. Jacobs' chilling tale, The Monkey's Paw. The setting of the story, a remote cottage on a stormy night, immediately creates a sense of isolation and unease. The darkness outside mirrors the darkness that is about to enter the lives of the White family. The howling wind seems to whisper warnings, hinting at the terrible events that are about to unfold. The warmth and light of the fire provide a stark contrast to the coldness and darkness outside. The fire represents the safety and security of the family's home. However, the flickering shadows suggest that this safety is fragile and easily shattered. This opening scene is crucial because it creates a sense of anticipation and dread. As the night deepens, the White family receives an unexpected visitor, Sergeant Major Morris, an old friend who has returned from serving in India. He brings with him tales of his adventures in this far-off land, stories filled with exotic mystery and a touch of the supernatural. One of these stories revolves around a mummified monkey's paw, a seemingly insignificant object that holds a dark and dangerous power. Morris recounts how this monkey's paw has been imbued with a powerful magic, the ability to grant 3 wishes to its possessor. However, he warns, these wishes come at a terrible price. The magic of the paw is rooted in fate, and to interfere with fate is to invite disaster. Despite his warnings, Morris reluctantly shows the paw to the Whites, piquing their curiosity. He throws the paw into the fire, hoping to destroy it and prevent any misfortune. But Mr. White, intrigued by the possibilities and perhaps tempted by fate, snatches it from the flames. This act sets in motion a chain of events that will forever alter the course of the White family's life. The arrival of Morris and the monkey's paw is a pivotal moment in the story. Mr. White, despite initial hesitation, decides to test the paw's power. He makes a seemingly harmless wish for a sum of money, a wish that is granted in the most tragic way imaginable. The next day, the Whites receive news that their son, Herbert, has been killed in a horrific accident at the factory where he worked. The compensation from the company? The exact amount of money that Mr. White had wished for. The joy of receiving the money is immediately overshadowed by the overwhelming grief of losing their son. The Whites are forced to confront the horrifying reality that their wish has been granted, but at a price far greater than they could have imagined. The monkey's paw, it becomes clear, does not grant wishes in a benevolent way. Instead, it twists fate to fulfill its promises in the most unexpected and cruel ways possible. This first wish and its consequences form the central turning point of the story. The seemingly harmless desire for a small amount of money has resulted in the ultimate loss, highlighting the dangerous, unpredictable nature of the monkey's paw. Section 4. The Second Wish, a Mother's Grief, a Family's Terror. Overcome with grief, Mrs. White, in a moment of desperation, convinces her reluctant husband to make a second wish. She pleads with him to use the paw to bring their son back from the dead. Consumed by her grief, she fails to consider the consequences, the unnatural state of what she is asking for. Days pass, filled with a silence more terrifying than the storm that had raged on the night of Morris's visit. Just when the Whites begin to believe that the paw is nothing but a cruel trick, a knock comes at their door late one night. The knocking grows more insistent, frantic. Mrs. White, convinced it is her son, rushes to open the door, her husband desperately trying to stop her. The fear in their home is palpable, a tangible presence that chills the reader to the bone. The knocking stops just before the door opens, leaving the Whites in a terrifying limbo between hope and dread. Jacobs expertly uses sound, or rather the lack of it, to create tension. The silence after Herbert's death is deafening, amplifying the Whites' grief and fear. The knocking at the door, coming after days of agonizing anticipation, shatters the silence and brings their terror to a head. The ending of the section, with the abrupt silence just before the door opens, leaves the reader in a state of heightened suspense, unsure of what horror awaits on the other side. Section 5. The Final Wish. A desperate attempt to undo the past. Mr. White, in those heart-stopping seconds, understands the true nature of the wish. He knows that what is behind that door is not his son, but a twisted, perhaps monstrous version of him. With a racing heart and trembling hands, he makes his final wish, a desperate plea to undo the horrors unleashed by the monkey's paw. The knocking ceases. Silence returns, heavier than before. Mrs. White flings open the door to find nothing. The street is empty, the night silent except for the sound of their own ragged breathing. Their son, both alive and dead, is gone. The monkey's paw, its 3 wishes granted, lies cold and inert on the floor. The Whites are left to face the devastating consequences of their desires, forever marked by the chilling encounter with the monkey's paw. Mr. White, having learned a terrible lesson about the nature of fate and the price of interfering with it, uses his last wish to restore the natural order, even if it means losing his son forever. The story ends not with a bang, but with a whimper, leaving the reader to contemplate the profound sadness and the chilling implications of the tale. Section 6. The Price of Greed. Unraveling the story's moral. The Monkey's Paw is more than just a scary story. It's a cautionary tale about the dangers of greed and the unintended consequences of our desires. The White family, initially content with their simple life, becomes blinded by the allure of getting something for nothing. Their desire for wealth and their inability to accept the natural order of life lead them down a path of unimaginable sorrow and regret. The story teaches us that true happiness lies not in material possessions or in trying to cheat fate, but in appreciating what we have and accepting the natural course of life and death. It serves as a stark reminder that tampering with fate can have horrific consequences, often far worse than the problems we initially seek to solve. Section 7. Echoes of the Monkey's Paw, the enduring legacy of a classic. The Monkey's Paw has left an indelible mark on popular culture, influencing countless other stories, films, and TV shows. The image of a cursed object that grants wishes with a sinister twist has become a staple of the horror genre. The story's central themes, the dangers of greed, the futility of cheating fate, and the unintended consequences of our desires, continue to resonate with audiences today, proving the timeless appeal of W. Jacobs' chilling tale. The story's influence can be seen in everything from classic horror films like The Twilight Zone to modern television series like Supernatural. It has been adapted and reimagined countless times, each iteration adding a new layer of depth and terror to the original tale. The Monkey's Paw serves as a powerful reminder that some things are best left undisturbed, that the pursuit of our desires can come at a terrible cost, and that sometimes the greatest horror lies not in the supernatural, but in the choices we make as human beings.